YouTube. I'm very unhappy. I've done something very silly. I've recorded a lovely long chat about my week and the coincidences and the things that have happened. And there were no shadows anywhere because the light was brilliant. Do you know what I did? I had my microphone off. Yep, no microphone. No words, no audio. Can you believe that? That makes me so unhappy because I put the effort in to try and create some content. I need these on dogs, not listening to anything. Create some content for you. Make something regularly, commit to doing something every week. Here's my YouTube channel. Here's my content. This is what's going on. So I did recorded it without any sound. Is this just something that happens and it's peculiar to people that are in their 50s and 60s that are doing technology? Just stupid, isn't it? It's just like I forgot. Just forgot. And the reason why I turned the microphone off was because I'd been recording something earlier that was using the screen. And if I have my microphone on, it picks up all the noise in the room while it's recording the screen. I don't know any option other than to turn it off, but then I forgot to turn it on. So I'm sorry about that. So this second version you're getting is my pet hate. I absolutely hate having to repeat myself and do things twice. What is the universe delivering for me? An exercise in patience. Is that what's happening here? I'm now going to have to do this again. Now, what I was doing was talking through the photos on my phone for you because that's how I remember what's happened in my little world. That's how I remember who I've bumped into, who's asked for directions, what coincidences I've seen. I take pictures of them. Because despite what you might think, I know because I talk about coincidences and these little things that happen and make a big deal out of them, you'd be forgiven for thinking that I haven't got much of a life. But actually, I'm a very busy person. And this extra thing that I do taps into my list of projects of things that I'd like to be able to focus on all the time, but I can't. So I just do it for the little bit of time that I can do it, because my mind says it's better to do a little bit of something than not do anything at all. Right? That's how my mind works. So this week I've been asked for directions for someone that happened today. It's the 11th of May today, 2024. I went along, I've done a lot today. I've had so much going on. I'll try and start at the beginning. I'll try and keep this in the line of how it happened. I was asked for directions to Hamlet Court Road. It was about 50 yards away. There's a junction where you can go right or left. And he was there with his Google Maps looking at it, and it really wasn't clear from the Google Maps which direction he should be going in. It's Hamlet Court Road. So I pointed it out to him. Of course, naturally, I was going that way as well. But he was on an electric scooter, so off he went. And the reason I like being asked for directions is because it reminds me that I'm the person that knows the way. Right? It reminds me, be spiritual, focus on how you're feeling, notice what's going on around you. It's that is the way of life. There are a lot of people out there that don't seem to have any purpose in their life. They've lost their track of where their path is. And for me, having these things happen, people say things to you, or you experience these interactions with people, that is you not being reminded to get back on your path. That is your path, being the person who knows the way to be able to help other people, right? Anyway, this week I met a little lady called Lorraine, little old lady in a park. She's in her 80s. I'm in my 50s, 56, going to be 50, or I could be 57 actually. How old am I? It's 2024. I think I'm 57 then. Oof, I'm 57. Am I really 3 years away from what should have been retirement? But now we've all got to work another 7 years longer. Yeah, I think I probably am. Anyway, now the reason why I'm distracting myself and going off on this other subject is because I've already told this story once, and it really, really is like pulling teeth for me to have to say all these things twice. So I'm going to rush through it, what happened, and it probably won't be as interesting this time. I met a little old lady in the park. Her name's Lorraine. She's from Southchurch. This little old lady has lived here for 50 years. She's been going to that park for years. I've lived here for 50 years. I've been going to that park for every day for 7 months, and I've been going to that park in 1993 to 1998 every day. Right? We've never crossed paths. We've never met each other, never spoken. But in the UK, when there's a little old lady sitting on a bench on her own and she calls over to you, oh, isn't it a lovely day? That's British speak for would you like to come and have a chat? So she invited me over by mentioning the weather. Naturally, I got up and went over to her bench and started having a chat with her, telling her about my book. Of course, I told her about my book because I tell everyone about my book. That's who I am. I'm a walking book advert. This one, synchronicity, right? It's all about coincidence. That's what this channel is about. She said, where can I buy that book? I said, well, it's down the road, actually. It's actually in a bookshop called Books on Sea as well. I've got a few in there that they're selling for me, which is very kind of them. But it's lovely to be able to see my book in the bookshops. It's great. And then the next day, I went to the park again. Guess who I saw again? Lorraine. Now, the coincidence was that the day before, I'd had a message from a friend of mine called Laura. She'd wanted to do a tarot reading, tea leaf reading. Guess where she lives? Southchurch. Next day, so I met this little old woman named Lorraine from Southchurch. And I'd literally just had text messages from the other Lorraine, also in Southchurch. Third day, I meet this woman, Lorraine, in the park. We both couldn't believe it because it was different times of the day. Because I don't go in there the same time every day. I don't have a routine of going out, getting a pint of milk, walking along the beach, walking along the seafront and coming back through the park. That's not what happens. I mean, I do that actually. I do walk along the seafront every day. But at some stage during the day, usually I've been into town and I come back through the park or I walk through the park on the way. And it's in the conservation area and it's a beautiful park. It's got a fountain. It's the same place where I was sitting when I saw the house burn down last week. It's absolutely beautiful, really stunning place. And she was in there again. And we both couldn't believe it. 3 days on the trot, we'd bumped into each other at the same time, different parts of the park. We hadn't planned it or anything. We just happened to keep bumping into each other. So I said to her, oh, I'm going to bring you a copy of my book. Next, I'm going to start carrying it around so that when I see you next, I'm going to have my book with me so I can give you my book. She said, oh, I want to know where to buy it from. So I told her she could buy it from the bookshop. I thought, no, don't buy it. I'll just give you one I've already got. And then by the day 3, she's calling me May instead of calling me Tamasin because she's obviously forgotten my name. She's just made something up. So she's renamed me May and I haven't corrected her. So now she thinks my name's May, but I'm going to give her my book that's got the name Tamasin written on it. Because that's going to be a little bit awkward, but hopefully she'd have forgotten by then she's calling me May. So I was walking down the road. Now today, I had a message from someone telling me that my certificate was ready for a certificate in supervision course I did 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. It feels like 2 years ago. Might have been a year ago. Might have been the beginning of last year. And then in the meantime, I've done another supervision course, clinical level 6 supervision course. And that also has come to fruition today. So I've had an email from them telling me that I've passed the course and I just got to download a badge. And that was really in depth and it was a long course and I needed to do a lot of work in order to pass that. And at the same time, walk down the road and pick up my certificate for one that I'd done previously. So I love the idea. Like if you knew how much work had gone into both of those courses, the idea that they would come to fruition on the same day is just, it is a little bit mind-blowing to me because how does that happen? I don't know, but it did. So on one day, I had 2 things to go and be proud of and be celebrating and feel good about. Right? So I'm bounding down the road, picking up my certificate, being pleased with myself. Yeah, look, I've managed to succeed. I've got through this. I've got something to show for 130 hours work on one of these. Brilliant. As I'm walking along the high street, I see these monks, one of them like Hare Krishna monk, one of them wearing an orange outfit. I shouldn't call it an outfit properly. Obviously it's got a name, those robes that they wear, you know. One of them gave me his little card because it's Hare Krishna Festival, 17th of May in Benfleet. And it's what is it called? An evening of spiritual culture where you sit on a comfy chair and relax. You listen to spiritual wisdom, watch a dance, try mantra meditation, sing along, maybe get up and dance and eat a lot of food because it's delicious and free. You go home happy, inspired and full of wisdom and food. In wisdom and philosophy, it's based on the Bhagavad Gita and other ancient yoga texts and practices from the East. And he gave me this little book, Chant and Be Happy, which is a lot of based on this idea of these vibrations that you speak, which is a lot of things I talk about on this channel. You know, you are what you speak. So be careful what you wish for. and pay attention to the words that you're using to describe your life, yourself, what's going on for you. And my friends pulled me up actually today. She said, you called yourself fat, because I did. I said I was feeling too fat because I could barely get my size 14 jeans on. I was like, it's not that I'm fat, but I'm still calling myself fat, which is a derogatory term, and I'm denouncing myself because I know that I could use with losing a few pounds. I've got no reason to be carrying this extra weight. But since I've given up swimming because I've moved, the weight's going on naturally. So I've got to come up with some other solution. Walked down High Street, guy in orange robes. He's got his lovely gold paint on his head. Like, I'm not sure what that is. Don't think I've ever seen a monk, a Harry Krishna monk, up close before. And he wheeled me into talking about books that they were offering for free or for a donation. And then I couldn't take the book for free. So I knew that I had to go up to the cash point and get some money out. So I went up to the post office, went to the bank, got some money out. In the post office, which was my purpose for being in town, was to take back an Amazon light. I'd ordered a light that was supposed to light up all the backdrop, give me a lovely, nice coloured lighting. It looks amazing on the advert. And do you know what arrived? A tiny little thing like this. It's no good to man or beast. Tiny little thing that you can't extend so you can't make no. So I sent that back. Walked down the high street, walked to the post office. In the post office, there was a lady working on her own, very unhappy. She was getting very, very stressed. Now, I've mentioned this woman before because she does tend to get, when she gets stressed, she gets louder and she starts shouting at people. So when she's calm, what is a nice service like, would you like to come over? Is there anything I can just help you with? Turns into, did you not see the QR codes on the way here? Look, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there. It tells you you've got to fill a form in with the customs and excise before you bring your parcel here. It turns into that level of, she just can't stand these people any longer. One more person, she's going to freak out. It's that sort of feeling. And then she said, I've been working since 8:30 this morning. I haven't had a break. So she's like really stressed out. So I get to the counter and I say, oh, I'm really sorry you're having this experience. And then sort of I'm empathizing and it's calming down. And she just suddenly got up from behind the chair. She said, that's it, I've decided I'm having a break. I'm just, wait. She held her finger up to me and I was like, oh, okay. So I'm standing there like, okay, there's a big queue of people that have all got all sorts of parcels, all manner of reasons to be at the post office. And then she shouts out, we've got no euros, we've run out of euros. 2 people left the queue. And then some bloke at the back shouted, have you got tax? Can you do car tax? And she's like, yeah, we can do car tax. I swear to God, it was like a scene out of comedy. It was. She puts the close sign up. She comes, unlocks the door, gets back behind the counter, locks the door, comes back round. Danielle said, I've got a QR code. She did my thing for Amazon. I needed to do. She said, oh, we've been downgraded to a sub post office. This is a city, Southend. We've got 300,000 people in this town. Downgraded to a sub post office. I just found the whole thing really funny. Not funny for her and not fair. No one should have to deal with that amount of people on their own. Not when there's like 4 or 5 people. It's that one person on their own. It's just stupidity. I think she's going to be able to cope with that. Anyway, so I walked back along the high street and met all the nice calm monks again. While I was in the post office, I found a nice little journal that was nice, same colour orange as the guy's robe. So I got the journal because he had said that they don't have money and they rescue cows, and they had 80 cows that they'd rescued, and then he had this vegetarian cookbook, and then I felt really bad. So obviously I had to give him some money, but I did pick up this book. So I thought I'd got my money's worth because I've now got a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, and I gave him his journal, and also gave the other guy, because there was one in orange and one in white, and I suspect the one in white robes was less qualified, perhaps. And I gave him a copy of my book, the one that was meant for Lorraine, because I didn't see her. So the monk has a copy of my book. Oh yeah, and I also gave a copy of my book to Ricky Gervais. I gave it to one of his doormen. So this is for Ricky. As a stampede to get out of the theatre, I just sort of handed the book over. I quickly shoved it into his hands. And he took it and he says, for Ricky, yeah, like as if, oh yeah, I can do that. And I was like, if you wouldn't mind, but if you can't get it to Ricky, then you have it. It's for you. And he said, I'll try and get it to Ricky. So then I tweeted Ricky and I said, I've given a book to your doorman. And he liked my tweet, which is big of him. And so that was quite exciting, going to see Ricky Gervais. That was lovely. Went to Ricky Gervais, and then afterwards, Chinatown is just around the corner. Had some nice takeaway Chinese in a little carton. You just like fill up as much as you can. They've got all this lovely everything you can get from a Chinese is just sitting there, and you just pile it into a little box, eat it while you're watching all these TikTok filmers, all these people filming TikToks, and London has turned into TikTok Central. And there's all these little tuk-tuk type vehicles that they're all done up with all pink fur and lights, and you can just drive around, like be driven around London in a tuk-tuk. It's great. Didn't get on one, but I can see, can see the benefit from doing that. What else happened to me this week that I haven't told you about, that I've forgotten because I said it once and I don't want to say it again? So I was asked for directions. I was bumped into a new person who had the same name and came from the same place as a person I've been messaging the day before. Oh yeah, I went down to pick my certificate up and happened to bump into the woman who runs the offices where I work out of. I haven't seen her for ages, but it's quite likely that she's in there because that's where she's supposed to be. And then I wanted to do a video about the baby reindeer, but I'm in two minds as to whether I should, because that woman is clearly unwell. We've only taken his word for it that all those things happened, right? And it's just insane the way that's taken the world by storm this week. Baby reindeer, everyone's gone berserk over it, haven't they? I don't know why. I think maybe it's because they're allowed to. It's almost like she's fair game because if she's a stalker, then it's okay. It's like those true crime detectives, people going mad about the person who's done something wrong. It's like they're the villain, so it's okay to rip into them, or it's okay to be gleeful about their downfall. It's like a public lynching, isn't it? Of course, none of that is okay, is it? Of course not. Well, so I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh no, I didn't go through my photos again. Last week I was mentioning the Royal Albert Hall, and forgive me for being so scrappy with this. I'm sorry. It is the second time I've done it, and also I've got out of the practice of doing it because I've got out of the rhythm of recording for YouTube. I really have. I've stopped doing the tarot reading ones completely. What's the point? What is the point? That's literally what I thought. While I'm sitting here talking about this, I'm going to open an Osho card for you. Because my problem is, if it doesn't work straight away, I get bored with it. And when I say work straight away, I mean, I've been doing it for a year and I've only got 300 people following me. But 300 people is still a lot of people, isn't it? If you put 300 people outside in the car park, that'd be a lot of people waiting on you for your videos. Oh, look at this. Postponement. That's the card that's come up. Postponement. Postponing what? What is due to be postponed? If you fancy looking up the meaning of the Osho cards of postponement, I might do that in a minute and then add some words to this when I'm editing it. Might be an idea, mightn't it? So I was in Southend High Street looking in a charity shop the day before I went to London to see Ricky Gervais. And I'd been talking about the Royal Albert Hall and my experience the week before of being in London. And what should I notice in front of me but an album cover with a picture of the Royal Albert Hall on it, of course, walking down the high street, first hat of the year, first sun hat of the year, because I do take photos when I see hats or random objects. I think hats off from the universe. And I have had hats off from the universe this week because I've passed these 2 supervision courses, and it does feel like a little pat on the back. It does. Nice little sun hat. And then I was on a bench down the seafront. I'm on a morning walk. I saw a little ladybird. And I went little creatures and little things from nature come and let themselves be known to you. And actually, a big bee flew past my face today. So there's going to be some good news coming my way as well, some bigger news. And this little trainer, one shoe. The one shoe business this week is quite pertinent because John Mulhoney, I'm not sure what his name is. He's a stand-up comedian anyway. He's really good. He's got Netflix specials and he's really funny and I like him. He was on the Theo Von podcast, which is another reason why he's come to my attention. He's got a really baby face, but he's a fully grown adult, but he looks very, very young and very clean cut. But actually, he was in rehab for cocaine and all sorts of, messing about with pharmaceuticals and managing his moods that way. And he was on the David Letterman. My next guest is, I think it's that thing where they don't need any introduction. He doesn't say their name or something because they don't, they're so famous, they don't need any introduction. And at the end of the interview he did with him, which was really lovely, so if you get a chance, have a little look at that one. He said, this is David Letterman, who's the host, said to his guest, "Oh, I had an idea for a comedy show, but I couldn't pitch it right or something." And then He says, what was it? He goes, well, sometimes when I'm out, I notice one shoe, just one shoe. And then his guest gave him a whole sort of scenario about the backstory, about what could be happening about that shoe. That was really quite funny. And he just made it sound effortless that he would be able to come up with a story like that. So then when I saw that one shoe the next day at the beach, I sent it to him on Twitter. Didn't reply because he didn't. But, you know, it's the fact that I've watched that video, which is new, it's out, it's current. And then the next day I see a shoe. Very next day, I'm walking past the bowling green, right? Not the seafront. And there's another trainer on my path or another type of shoe. Take that photo, send that to him. Of course I do. And then the monks. And then I noticed a paddle out protest. There's a protest. Everyone's going with Surfers Against Sewage on the 18th of May at 12 o'clock on Saturday. Everyone's going out there to protest the sewage being put into the water in the UK. And then I noticed this stainless, it's stained glass, it's not stainless steel, it's stained glass lamp and it's blue glass. It's got 40% off and it's now £255. It's like a Tiffany lamp. And the reason I noticed it was because I was talking about the blue glass again. And as I'm walking past this lamp shop that's been there for 80 years and it's now closing down because they can't afford the business rates and all that, another casualty of the cost of living crisis. So I've got my eye on that blue lamp. What do we think? Is it ever going to come down to £100? Oh, that would be a bargain. They're like 500 quid, those lamps. This is the thing. Could I justify it to myself spending £100 on a lamp? I love my little lamp, you know, my little lamp from Amazon that you plug in, charge up. I'm not replacing that with a Tiffany thing, but if it does go down to it's an affordable price, you might see a Tiffany lamp sitting there this time next week. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.